Alright, this is my second video for Stroids. Last time I showed you the background effect that I had just implemented. This time around I've included a score counter, as well as new enemy swarms and asteroids. I actually have a new icon here for Stroids. That may actually be the final one, I'm not quite sure yet. But let's go ahead and run this. Alright. As you see here, typical enemy spawns. I developed different patterns for each group. Some spawn from the corners of the wall, some spawn in random spots. They won't spawn on top of you, at least not the random ones. As for the wall ones, or I mean the corner ones, I'll have to adjust that later. So that's Swirly, the green guy. He just swirls around, kind of slowly moves around. What I also have here, new in this video, is Asteroids. And as you destroy them, they break into smaller pieces, which is, what typically happened in Asteroids, the original game. And this has some inspiration in it. The yellow guys, which look like headphones, their name is Beat. The asteroids are just called asteroids. These orange guys are called Orbi, because they orbit the player. So those are the enemies I have right now. And as you can see, the score counter is going up as I'm destroying enemies. Roughly that's about what I have now. I've also done some other optimizations, some AI fixing. And I've also come up with many other enemy ideas. Something I need to do, though, with as much as going on in this game right now, I need to fine-tune the trackball movement of the player. It's a bit jittery. It does have smooth movement, but what I can tell is it's going to have to be a lot smoother, a lot more fine-tuned for the player, so you can get in and out of situations a lot easier without going just straight into an enemy like that. So this is just basically a rough demonstration. I've also been working on gameplay music and the title screen music. The title screen music is done. It's just a short loop, and it's more of a theme than it is an actual song. It's a bit ominous, actually. I've also thought of doing achievements that you unlock as you play the game. Basically, these are goals for the player to work on, to add some replayability and to add some personal satisfaction. So I've still got at least another 3 weeks to work on this. What I'll be doing next, there's a lot of enemies on the screen. What I'll be doing next is adding a string rendering method. I will also be working on some additional optimizations that I can find, if at all possible. An unfortunate thing about Android and OpenGL, yes, is there's not much you can do about dynamic objects and drawing fast. It's just not possible. There's the OpenGL's 1.1 extension called Draw Texy or something like that. For drawing, it's just a straight up texture, but the problem is you can't rotate. And that's something that just won't work out for me. On top of that, it draws from whatever texture that you have. You don't have control over UV coordinates. I would have to do a GL bind texture every frame. That's not going to work for me. So, unfortunately, my rendering engine might be as fast as I can do it. The only frame rate drop is from the actual drawing itself, and not even necessarily that. It's the OpenGL calls to draw. just making the calls is such a heavy process for some reason. Without drawing, it goes 60 frames a second easily with everything going on. So it's entirely the OpenGL calls. I also have a few game engine bugs that are, one, there's a frame rate cap sometimes when you run the program. That's a major issue in my opinion. And two, sometimes the textures screw up, and I think it's because I'm not recalling it correctly. After it's been paused, or if the screen gets turned off and then turned back on, it doesn't go back into the program correctly, and that's something I need to fix. But it's a known issue. I can figure out how to fix that. The score counter may not be that big. I may lower down the digits a few. One, to help with the frame rate, and two, it's a pretty huge number. Like I said, there are additional enemies I'm going to be working on. I've come up with at least 5 more enemies. An actual power-up or 2 that are triggered when you destroy them. So they're not something you actually have to collect, but you shoot them. Some additional obstacles gameplay-wise. And what else? There will be a score multiplier as you destroy enemies. That's about it for now. I'll also be working on a menu system and working on the sound effects and pretty much putting everything together. So, again, I will be posting additional video updates in the future, and thanks for watching my video.